Okay, we are live. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Styles UK YouTube channel. I'm still getting used to saying that name after our rebrand that you may or may not have seen online this week. So just to recap before we get into today's live podcast, we have rebranded as Styles UK. We've been part of the Styles group since 2000 around, yeah. So not really a massive change business wise, but it does just mean that everything's nice and neat and tidy online. And yeah, we are officially the UK branch of Styles, which we have been for a while. It's just got the right name now.
And this is not going to affect anything to do with logging into the websites or anything. It's styles.co.uk and custom.styles.uk to get onto the EasyView portal. Everything is just the same. Username's the same. It's just a bit of a refresh.
Yes, and we've had some positive feedback so far. So thank you if you are one of the people to message us to say that you are supportive of the transition. But today we are recording our Garment Decorators Podcast live from the Heat Printing Innovation Centre because we want to prepare everybody for what is going to happen next week, which is the Global Masterclass. So been a long time, well, I say a long time coming. It feels like it's been a long time coming because I've been waiting for it for so long. Are you excited?
I'm very excited.
Yeah?
It's always nice to do a big event, and this is the biggest one we've done yet. So very exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be a massive, massive day. So we just wanted to do an episode this week on preparing you all for the masterclass. So we want to make sure that, you know, you're all completely ready to go into it. You know exactly what to expect. You know which talks you want to attend, and just to make sure that you get the most out of the day, really.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a long day, but it's going to be a really valuable day. So making sure that you make the most of it is key. Making sure you pace it right and getting the best out of it is going to be a real concentration of education into this sort of 7-8 hour day.
That's a good tagline.
But yeah, so we want to make sure that you maximize it because it will be a while before we do another one of these. So take advantage of it.
So if anybody know in the comments, and if you haven't, you do still have time to register. The event isn't until Wednesday, so you've probably got until mid-morning on Wednesday to register, or Tuesday evening.
And you can watch everything in your own time. We recommend watching it live to get the most out of it, but if you don't register beforehand, you won't be able to get hold of those videos if you register after the event.
So before we get started, we'll just recap some of the talks and what you can expect. So we are kicking off the day at midday UK time with an introduction class to heat print on demand, which is Ben Carroll, who is the managing director at Velflex Australia, Josh Ellsworth, who is the chief revenue officer at Styles. You will probably know Josh's name anyway. And RMD Martin is going to be taking that one as well. So this one is just learning about how you can harness the power of heat printing technology to produce custom apparel on demand. So a really good basic intro to, you know, the world that we're moving into now with demand.
Well, yeah, I'd say that now at this point, the most popular option for printing on demand is heat printing on demand.
Yeah.
We've seen this through all of our biggest customers. This is what they're choosing to do. This is what they're working with. So this is something we want to make sure that all of you are aware of what's going on, how to make the most of it, how this could factor into your business. So this is a real kickoff with the brightest minds in heat printing all coming together from every shore. So anyone that's not familiar with Ben Carroll, he is the lead educator in Australia and that whole region for when it comes to garment decorating. And obviously they have the best heat transfers in Australia, and they are master distributed for Styles Electronics as well. So they have the best heat presses. So we're bringing all these people together just to kind of give you a bit of a state of the globe on heat print on demand and printing on demand in general.
We've had a great comment from Gavin, who has said, we'll have multiple AirPods on charge. You're going to need them. You're going to need the charge. So that is a really great one. And just to recap what the actual masterclass website says, it says, regardless of your core market, we'll discuss how you can reduce financial risk and waste while expanding your product catalog and being agile to find your customers' order at any market or scale. So covering absolutely everything to do with heat print on demand.
It's being able to be nimble and be able to pivot to use your technology within your building to make the most of the orders that come through and turn them in the quickest possible time.
So after that one, we have got decoration trends from around the world, and that is you, Andy. Ben and Jenna Sackett is going to be taking that one as well. So she is this is brand activation manager, but she's actually commercial sales executive now for Styles. So they'll be taking that one. Do you want to cover a little bit on that?
Yeah, so Jenna, as anyone listened to podcast last week will know, that she is the lead when it comes to bringing everyone together, bringing brands and blanks companies or any other kind of merchandise or garment decorators together, the biggest companies. And she's actually going to be bringing some special guests to that particular talk. So the people from one of the designers from Culture City is going to be a big part of that particular talk, talking about designs. They do a lot of music designs. A lot of the big music designs you may not realize are theirs, and they design those t-shirts and the merchandise for that. So they're going to give a real insight into how they approach different markets around the world to make sure they provide the right designs and the right techniques. So it's going to be a really exciting talk. They're going to bring a lot of value. I know that Jen is very excited about the talk, and so is Ben. That it's going to be really valuable for anyone who wants a bit of an insight into sort of the trends from how designers are approaching it into those markets, because there's a lot you can learn from every single market. What could be something that's happening in the US, it's going to come to the UK, or vice versa. It could be something in Australia that you hear about. You're like, oh, wow, that's a great idea. No, why aren't we doing that in this country?
Yeah.
I'm going to be the first to do that.
I think there's going to be a lot of that throughout the entire day.
Absolutely, yeah.
So that is talk number 2. Presentation number 3 is at 2 p.m. and it is creating more sustainable decorated apparel, and that is hosted by Jenna. We spoke a tiny bit about this with Jenna on the podcast last week, and I think there's a lot more to be uncovered when it comes to sustainability within the industry. Like I say, we touched on it, but there's going to be so many more things that you will get from attending this class. So the bio for this one is: as consumers grow more conscious of environmental impact, it's important to understand the value of sustainable apparel. In this session, join an international panel of apparel suppliers and decorators to discuss the available options, impact that sustainable options make on your brand's reputation and your customers' needs.
Yep. So Jenna is going to be hosting another panel, and panels are always great for education anyway, because you start to get a bit more of a relaxed environment and you start to hear some really good opinions coming through. But she's also going to be joined by Bella Canvas, Sanmar, and Threadfast. So she's got a really good panel of, excuse me, I'm about to sneeze, so let you carry.
She's got a really great panel of, pause.
Sorry, I do apologise to everyone that's listening.
Did you actually sneeze?
No, I kind of kept it in. So the sustainability is a big issue for everyone. If you don't think it's an issue, it'll be an issue. It'll be an issue, and it'll be too late for you to be an issue. So it's really important that you learn from the experts, learn from what they're seeing and what their customers are talking to them about. But also, if you're using those products, it's particularly important to understand the messaging, or if you're not using their products, it's something you maybe should think about, because they have really strong sustainability messages across the 3. But it's finding out about what they're up to and how, but most importantly is how can you leverage that message for your company, because your customers are going to be asking about sustainability. So you need to start building a narrative around your brand, your business, so that you can react to your customers and explain, this is how these t-shirt that I'm putting in front of you is made, and this is how you should, it's going to feel, and this is how we can decorate it. This is the pros and cons. So it's really important to join into that, ask those questions and understand the sustainability message more, because it's going to be it already is a real focus from end users, and it's only going to be getting more and more intense that way.
It's more like knowing your product inside and out, isn't it? Like, it's all very well saying, oh yeah, this t-shirt was recycled or made with recycled materials, but if the customer goes, well, how, why? Like, it's, this presentation will give you the opportunity to get to know those garments, those brands, like Andy said. So yeah, one that will really take your sustainability focus to the next level. We follow that one on with a live Q&A, which is Andy, Ben, Dave, Jenna, Josh, and Kelly. So just a live Q&A session to get all of your questions in.
Yes. So we know that not everyone can join in live for every single minute of the thing. I mean, I'd encourage you to, if you can, because you get the most out of it.
Yeah.
So we've peppered a couple of live Q&A sessions throughout the day. So it means that particularly people in Australia or in the UK, we're joining at the very beginning. You can get anything that's not covered in any of the subjects, or anything you want to follow up with that you didn't get a chance to ask in the first 3 sessions. That's your time. Get those questions in. Ask us literally anything to do with garment decorating, garment businesses, whatever you have that's a problem in your business. Ask us, because there's bound to be someone within that panel of speakers that can help you and give you a good answer.
Yeah, and there's 6 of them on that panel, so definitely.
Yeah.
The next one is with Josh Ellsworth, and he is doing a cost calculation. So he says that understanding cost is the first step to unlocking your full profit potential. Join Josh for a detailed cost calculation case study to help grow your revenue. With a detailed analysis of garment costs, decoration costs, labour and overhead, you'll have a foundational understanding on how these expenses can impact your pricing. So an essential for anyone attending, really, that's running or any kind of business.
Yeah, so this is one for every level of business.
Yeah.
We're not just talking about beginners here. Josh is going to give some real value to even established and growing businesses on this one. So it's what's new for the cost calculator. Lots of things have changed in the last couple of years, and we reviewed the cost calculator that we tend to make available for people to make sure that in 23 into 24 that your calculations are watertight. Because we've seen customers, big and small, struggle this year, or struggle over the last 3 years because they've not been costing things right. They've been getting caught out by surprise things. And you're not thinking about every single element that goes into what goes in your customer. Even just like bits of paper like this, someone's got to pay
Packaging,
for it.
Stuff like that.
Make sure you're thinking about absolutely everything to make sure that you've got a profitable business now and in the future. So Josh is going to go really deep into that. And as the Chief Revenue Officer for Styles, this is something that he knows a lot about. So this is a really great resource, again, to get those business questions in particular.
Yeah, of all the people to take that talk, is definitely the best candidate. And then next is Global Market Trends, which is hosted by Kelly Walters and myself. And we're going to be talking about a lot of different trends across the globe. So there's a lot of things that have become more and more popular over the last, well, I say few months, but years even, and things that we're seeing come through from retail that are really impacting the way that heat print trends are sort of progressing in the industry. So we're going to talk a lot about that. We've got some really great specific examples for everyone. So I'll give you a few sneak peeks, but we've got a few things on like specific placements that are really growing in sort of the trend. There's a few specific design styles that we have covered in quite good detail. We touch on sustainability as well. There's so many things that you from a trend point of view need to be covering in your business, and we've even been speaking to obviously Kelly's from Styles in America, but we've been speaking to Ben as well in Australia about the trends that are happening over there. So like Andy said at the beginning, if there's things that are live in trends that are popular in different areas of the world, we touch on sort of how you can bring that into your business and why you wouldn't want to bring that into your business to help grow and just help you have a bit more of a varied product offering. Then we go on to heat transfer troubleshooting with Josh. So that is, I take it, just everything about people that might have problems with specific garments or issues with their presses.
Yeah, Josh is going to really break it down for you in terms of how to approach problem solve when it comes to garment decorating. Okay. So Josh has some really great techniques and processes to work through, rather than just be like, it doesn't work. There's a real process that you should work through in a particular order that we always recommend. So Josh is going to really make sure that you can understand that. So it means you can become a real problem solver, but also to kind of speed up the problem solving process. So you start to get a bit more of an idea about if something's not working, here's the reason why, here's how to approach it. And if you've got those fuse-along kits as well, that's going to be a good time to break those out and make sure that there'll be some fuse-along opportunities as well, so you can replicate what Josh is up to as well. But again, any problem you have when it comes to garment decorating, this is a good class to get involved with and just ask him questions, because Josh has been in the garment decorating business for a long time, so he has tested pretty much everything. So if there's a problem that you need help with, ask him, because he's probably done it at some point.
Yeah. So after that, we move on to setting up a heat press department. So flowing quite nicely from making sure that you can print everything perfectly without any issues, all the way through to how the layout of your print shop runs and sort of the efficiency behind that.
Yes, I'm just going to stop you, Molly, because I think you missed out a few in the middle there.
Have I?
Yeah.
Heat transfer troubleshooting.
I think there's a
setting up a
Seymour.
heat press.
No,
Bear with me, I've got the other one down here.
Yeah, there's a Seymour option. So I think you skipped about 4 hours ahead there.
Well, that's not helpful, is it? Where are we? Pricing models. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm with you. Right. We're going to revert back to the old-fashioned method of paper for everybody watching. So pricing models was Josh's one. And then we've got DTG versus DTF.
Yeah, so just on pricing models. So
recap.
So this is separate from
the whole layout.
That's fine. It's fine. It's good because there's lots and lots to take in. So that's
I'm
why,
not even halfway through the list,
that's why it's important to really plan your day for this one. So pricing models, again, for 2024. So this is on top of the cost calculation. So cost calculation is one thing. It's working out how to figure out what is happening in the four walls of your business. But the pricing model, again, this is something that people ask us all the time about. What should I charge for my product? What is a good price for this? And with so many new products coming in and us discussing all these global market trends as well, you'll start to be, I never heard of that product. How do I approach that? So again, it's what's the 23-24 approach to pricing models and how to make sure you're getting the best price point in front of your customers to not to secure the deal, also making sure that you're profitable with your business as well. So really making sure that you have your pricing model down and correct.
I'm still trying to figure out this order of these papers. I'm not going to lie to everyone. So we're just going to go back to, so hang on, which one have you just done? Pricing models. Okay, so then we move on to DTG versus DTF. And this is Ben's one, correct?
So Ben is going to do a real run through of different garment decorating techniques. So this will cover, as I said, DTG, DTF, I think a bit of screen printing in there as well. So just to give you a bit of some pros and cons of the actual technique and how to use them. So he's going to have a real great camera setup so you can see a bit of everything and understand the processes, because you always want to pick the right tool at the right time to make sure you're doing the best thing for your business.
Cool. Then I have the order now. We're all good. Then we move on to heat press basics and comparison, which is Kelly and myself again. So we're going to be looking at all of the fundamental basics that you should look for in a heat press and the features that will help your business grow into the future. So all of the things that make Hotronics the longest lasting heat press. It grows with your business. We're going to cover all of those features and why they help you and how to use them. We're going to be doing a bit of demonstrating with them as well. So we're obviously hosting from the Innovation Centre. So we'll have the presses out, we'll be fusing. And it's just a good opportunity for anybody that's either thinking about getting a Hotronics or adding a different press to their range, anything like that, to get your really specific questions in as well about the heat presses that you're after. So, and we're going to have them, like I said, all out so we can show you up close like the answers to your questions and everything. So I'm excited for that one.
Exactly. So if you've got questions about heat printing, even if you think it's a silly question, do make sure you join in and ask Molly and Kelly about that, because they'll be able to do a live demonstration of whatever problem you have with that or anything you're worried about. You need a little help with, just get in touch on the day, get those questions in.
Yeah. Then we have got the evolution of heat transfers, what to use and when, which is Dave and yourself.
Yeah. So this is giving you a history of the evolution of the heat transfer, because so much has changed, even in the last 6 months, but also the last 2 years. So it's really important to understand which transfer type to use when, because there's appropriate times, appropriate things, whether it comes to volume, color numbers, a particular finish you're trying to get. So we're going to break it down. So a job comes into you and it's this many colors, this many quantity, this sort of turnaround time. You can be like, I know exactly what to pick for that option. So you're always picking the option that's going to get you the best price point, get the quickest turnaround time, and it's going to be easy for you to decorate.
Yeah. And obviously we've got Dave on that one, so it's bound to be a fun session, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Following that one, we have got blank apparel trends with, I believe, Jenna and Bella Canvas on that one.
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
So that one is just talking more about the specific blanks that are trending. So Kelly and I will cover sort of more of the decoration aspect. We'll cover a few garments as well, but more of an actual like garment focus. Then we don't need that one anymore. Then we move on to how fabric impacts application. And that's another one of yours. You have a lot going on, Andy.
This is me and Dave again. So we're going to be talking very specifically about fabric types. So obviously there's so many things that could happen with decorating garments.
Yeah.
But every single fabric type also has a different kind of nuance to it. So we really want to make sure we narrow down. That's why we're really pleased with this education day, because it gives us a chance to narrow down on particular topics and concentrate rather than just be like, here's everything you need to know about heat printing.
Which is a very, very broad
Which is
subject.
very broad, yeah. So we're going to be talking about different fabric types and how to approach each fabric to get the best result on each one. Some tips and tricks for approaching it. So again, it's building on some of the troubleshooting, but kind of getting you prepared for that as well. This is kind of like your pre-learning before you get into like actually fixing some of the problems. It's just, again, it's making sure that if this customer puts this, I want this type of fabric, you know exactly the best decoration method to use and when.
Cool. And then that's the one that we've already mentioned. And then I believe it's wrapping up, and Josh is doing.
So we have, I think we've probably got another Q&A in there. So again, this is for anyone that is joining on the US time zone and you missed the earlier one,
this is the happy hour one.
Or if you just want to, again, ask us more questions, things you've thought about over the day with all this education, or things I wish I'd asked that earlier, bring it back in later on to the next Q&A. Again, all the speakers will be there, so you can ask us absolutely anything you want, even if it's unrelated to the event. You're like, I just want someone to answer this question for me, put it in front of us. Then we also do have a heat press setup seminar as well. So again, this is something that's really important, and I see a lot of people making mistakes around this, is making sure that the flow of operation is correct. So this is something where I see a lot of people making mistakes, where the flow of an order coming through to leaving the building is not done in a very functional way. And although you're like, well, what difference does it make? Actually, it makes a big difference, because if you're losing 10 seconds here, 10 seconds there, you could be costing your business months of the year potentially. So we're going to show you how to set up a heat press operation correctly. And it's not just going to be a case of put heat press here, boxes there. We're going to delve much deeper into actually understanding metrics and KPIs and the things you should be thinking about to measure this, to make sure that you're optimizing the whole setup of your business there. So it's some really great content around that as well. And I would encourage everyone to think about this, because it's the sort of thing that you don't get the chance to do every day. The heat press is working, so I'm happy, but actually there's so much more to it. And there's so many more efficiencies, even in the tiniest little things, as you know, much like with the quick slip that we discussed about how it could save you weeks a year. Again, we're going to delve into other things that are going to give you a competitive advantage, and it'll help decrease your turnaround time and make you more desirable for potential customers that way.
Cool. So that is the schedule for the day. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot of topics covered. We've basically covered everything, which is exactly what we were aiming for. So the main purpose of this podcast was to prepare everybody for how to get the most out of the day.
Yep.
And the biggest thing that I would recommend for the actual day itself is spend a bit of time beforehand, go over the schedule that we've just run through, and pick out any talks that you 100% want to attend live. So as Andy said, all of these talks will be available to watch on playback after the event, but obviously we will not be there hosting them, and they will not be live. So any questions that you might have around that topic, if you think it's a particularly helpful one for you, then make sure you make a list or highlight that one to make sure you're there live. And then if there's another one that you think you'll find helpful but not as much as another one, you can watch that back later just to make sure you've covered all of your basis. So just make sure that you can ask any live questions.
Yeah, I think the main thing as well, from my point of view, is I can't stress enough how much this is going to be the only opportunity this year of all of these educators coming together to put this on for you. This is something that we're very passionate about at Styles and at Velflex and all the other Bella Canvas, Threadfast, and we all talk about this offline all the time about how we need to make sure that we give the best to everyone. So this is something that we will really make sure that you get the most out of it. I know it's very difficult sometimes to be like, yeah, I don't have an hour spare, I can't spare this, and I know it's 7-8 hours long, but I guarantee you that the education you get from today will not only just save you money, it will save you more than that 7 hours back throughout, even probably this side of Christmas. You can save that time back, and next year you'll save so many days of the year just by attending this, because of the fantastic education we're going to be put on for this. So it's really important that I know it's hard to just put tools down and walk away from the heat press or the embroidery machine or whatever it is to learn for an extended period of time. But it's really important you do take the time to do this, because you will get so much back from it.
It's definitely worth it.
Yeah. So it's make sure that you and your team, make sure they all watch it, so they'll all have a better understanding of what your business efficiencies, heat press application, troubleshooting. It'll give a real nice approach to the business. And hopefully if you're a business owner, it'll be great to give them a bigger picture, and also give them improved techniques and tools to make sure that the output from your business is much improved off the back of it.
I just want to say good morning to Darren, who's joining us live again. Good morning.
Thank you, Darren.
How are you?
Always good to see you.
So the next thing that we normally talk about when it comes to prepping for an event, normally these podcasts are based around in-person trade shows.
Yeah.
And normally we talk about planning your day or planning your route around the exhibition. But because this is all online and it's all pre-scheduled, that's something you don't have to do. So you've already crossed that one off the list. You do not need to structure your day at all. Just follow the schedule that is already existing.
Yeah.
The next one is obviously Jenna's favourite suggestion, and it's bring a notepad or some form of something to take notes on. As Andy said, there's going to be a lot of valuable information that you will benefit from so much in the next couple of weeks or months, let alone years to come. And making sure that you can jot down as much as physically possible during these live talks is going to be a game changer for all of you.
I would say as well is that from a planning point of view, we've made every single talk last 45 minutes. So there will be a 15-minute gap in between every single talk. So you need to go to the toilet, get a drink. You've got time. We built that into the schedule. If you need to quickly phone someone back, send an email. But I'd say more importantly than anything else, make sure you've got snacks in, so you don't have to go out. Pre-order the pizza for delivery at a tactical point if you can do. So that
we
way
are definitely doing that.
So yeah, that's what we'll be doing. So make sure that you can that way you don't have to go, I have to go out and miss that. Make sure you've got everything you need in the room. Or if you're going to be switching from work to home, make sure that you try and plan that around a particular talk, because you could still plug that in and listen to it on the way home if you've got a small commute to get back in between sessions. But try and pack so that you can leave and include part of it as that part of the 15 minutes. Have we lost camera?
We have lost a battery.
Okay, so anyone that's listening, I think we're pretty much done here.
We are almost done. My only other point was going to be to ask as many questions as you physically can. Make the most of the live speakers that we've got attending. Make the most of all of the sessions, and make sure that you have some time the following day to put any notes into action, and make sure you've got time to figure that out, basically.
And charge your laptops.
And your AirPods, according to Gavin.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much to everyone who's joined us live today. Apologies about the camera cutting out 30 seconds before the end. And if you haven't already, register for the Global Masterclass, and we'll see you all on Wednesday.
Stylesmasterclass.com.